does he have to do, Butler have to do in this series for the Heat to win it?
He's got to be who he's been all playoffs, and really throughout his career in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler has always been a better player in the playoffs. I played with him in Philly. That Toronto series when we lost in Game 7 on Kawhi's lucky shot.
I like that he got that.
But when we lost in that series, Jimmy was by far our best player.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Jimmy was our best player in that series. Like, Jimmy has always been great in the playoffs, so he just needs to be him. But and I agree with you. I don't think we give Jimmy enough credit. Like, Jimmy's been one of the top 4 players in these playoffs.
Agreed. Pause that. Y'all series. I heard some people was ducking action. They didn't want to guard Kawhi that series either. I don't know who.
Are you pointing at me?
I don't know.
I wasn't assigned to Kawhi.
But look, to answer that though, I just think Jimmy has to just play at his pace. You could tell he controlled the pace when they played against Philly. What I mean by that, I mean the tempo of the game. Whether one game might be presenting itself, I have to score 30 points. One game might present itself, I have to lock this person up. One game may present itself, man, I have to have the playmaking, get others involved. So I just think he has to control the game, control the pace, and he do that, man, they put themselves in a good position.
I think you're right. It's exactly what he did in the Philly series. He just seemed to control. He seemed to be the master, Monica, of the entire series, and it all seemed to go through him in one way or another. What do you think?
Well, I mean, we talk so much about Heat culture and the defensive signature of the squad, and that, to me, was a lot of the reason why Jimmy was able to be so successful. I had so much fun with our stats and information group digging into these numbers. He shot 51% on opportunities when the play started off of a defensive rebound, which is the Heat's defense obviously being able to lock down the offense. And then, in the first 12 seconds of the shot clock, he shoots 56%, and he's the second guy in terms of points scored in transition, only behind Tyrese Maxey in terms of players that have taken at least 20 shots in transition. So to me, when Jimmy's able to lead that defense, they can get out and run, they can get out in transition. He has that full head of steam, and he's such a problem to deal with.
You want to jump in?
Well, I wanted to make one other point about Jimmy and really the Heat in general. Jimmy does such a great job toggling between playmaker and scorer, and he does that naturally. And Spo has talked a lot about this. Like, he essentially functions as their point guard. And when you're in the regular season, because of blowouts, because of what's needed that night, he doesn't always have to score 25 points. But when you get to the playoffs, he's obviously more than capable of being that #1 option and being a closer.
I want to get to another point, and it's a point of respect. And I want us to put up this graphic because I just don't understand it. The Heat are the top seed in the East. And yet, going into the playoffs, I think they were ranked 4th by Caesars to make it to the finals. And then even in this series, look at that. Celtics favored. Pat Bev, do you feel like these Heat don't get enough respect? And if so, why?
Because they don't. At times I do. It's not like they have a flaring superstar. You understand? When people think Miami Heat, they think about the old LeBron, D. Wade, Chris Bosh type of days instantly. You think of all, the place filled up in all white. You think of everything but the actual team. This team been putting work in for the last 3-4 years consistently. They're a sleeper team. You go in Miami, you know how Miami is. You're not going to be in your room all day. I think that plays a big part. They go under the radar. They've been doing it consistently for 3-4 years. They can go from playing a man. They can go from playing a zone. I like the Heat.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you look at this Heat team, I think top seed, and you're talking about a sleeper. And that says all you need to know. Their culture, the way they develop their players, all these role players coming in, guys who are undrafted, making all these major contributions. It's an amazing team.
I'll say it. It. The reason they don't get enough respect is because we don't talk about them enough.
Well, we're talking about them today.
Around the NBA, they get a lot of respect. Within the league, they get a lot of respect. There's respect for the culture. There's respect for Spo. There's respect for the program that they built, the way they've developed players. They get ultimate respect from people in the league. We don't talk about them enough on national television.
We're talking about them today. We're changing the narrative.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.